So hindsight is always 2020, and I really feel like we made some good decisions when I started my lawn care business. But of course, there are some things that I would have done differently. This question came from a subscriber asking what it was that we would do differently if I had to do over again. I'm going to talk about it in this video, give you guys a little bit of insight. All right, guys. So the nuts and bolts of my business. I'll be completely honest. I would not have changed anything. We started again with a residential grade mower. You can kind of toss back and forth. So we started with a commercial mower. I don't know, man. That mower was so cheap to get a hold of. The equipment that I used, it got me started for a very, very low entry into the industry. We spent a good bit of money, not a good bit, but at that time was a large chunk of money to me for marketing. I wouldn't have done anything differently with that. I just a lot of the X's and O's, the blocking and tackling, the nuts and bolts of the business, the day-to-day stuff, man, I wouldn't have changed a whole lot. We did really, really well with the way that we executed the plan for starting the business. But there are things that I would have done differently, and the revolving theme has to do with people, okay? Whether it's clients, whether it's bad employees, it's all about people if I had to do things differently. So that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. Number one, the first thing that I would have done differently when starting my business is I would have hired somebody faster than what I did, okay? My first year, I did it pretty much completely on my own. And then I didn't really hire anybody until like the second year. And that first employee that I got, he wasn't very good. And I was like, this is why I didn't hire somebody in the first place. It just kind of costed me too much money. But then I ended up getting a hold of somebody who did do a good job. And it just took so much the workload off of me to have a good employee. It increased revenue for the business. It decreased my workload, and it was a blessing to them at the time, and I wish that I had just figured out a way to get a hold of somebody early. The hang up for me originally was, oh my gosh, I only have so much amount of yards. I can't afford to pay somebody. I'm doing 10 yards a day and I just can't pay somebody to come out and work with me. That was the wrong mindset, man. That person where you can only do 10 a day, you bring on a good person, you can do 20 a day. And it really, really makes a huge difference in the amount of work that you can get done. Production goes up, profit margin goes up, everything is better whenever you have extra help, okay? So that would be the first thing that I would say is I would have hired somebody quicker. The second thing that I would say that I would have done differently in my business is I would have fired people quickly earlier in my business, okay? I'm very good now about letting people go if they're not going to work out, or if things start slipping on their end. I'm done trying to coach you through being a good employee. You cannot motivate somebody. You can't change somebody's character, by offering them more money. It's you either have a good work ethic and you're money motivated, and you show up and you do things that you say you're going to, or you don't, and that's not something that you can teach into somebody. And I had a issue with letting go of those type people. I kept thinking, I would see something good and I'm like, man, if you would just get your crap together a little better, I could provide you enough work to keep you busy from here until eternity, and I'm paying better than anybody else in the area, and it's not even close, and I really felt that way. And I felt like, okay, well, this person, they're going to come around. They never come around, man. They end up just doing enough to get by and getting back in your good graces for a little bit. And then it's the same thing. And that's the best way to describe it. That employee, that person will do just enough to get back in your good graces. And then eventually, and man, I had guys where I would do that with. And the worst was whenever I ended up rehiring somebody that I actually did that. I fired somebody, and then the next year they came back, hat in hand, just begging, saying, I got my crap together, and I rehired them. And would you know, it was the same freaking crap all over again. Finding the excuses to call in, you know, just soft guys doing poor quality work. And I don't have time for that, you know. So again, the second thing that I would say is I would have let people go quicker in the early stages of my business. Just knowing what I know now, it's just, it added so much stress to me. It added it was just a big pain in the butt when you have a problem employee, okay? So that'd be the second thing. And the third thing is I would have got rid of the problem clients a lot quicker in the beginning than just kind of just letting that go along and see how they're going to be. It's the same thing with like employees, man. Like you will know really quickly with a client if it's somebody, you know, by your second or third service, you know, that they're calling you because you missed a blade of grass somewhere. I'm not saying, guys, that you know, don't check your work, and if somebody has a legitimate complaint, like I want to do a good job. I want to do a great job for people, and so do the guys who work with me. But if you get a phone call and you walk the property with a person and they're pointing out things that you're like, but we're cutting 25, 30 ons a day. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like what you're talking about right there, you know, I'm not your gardener to come out here with a pair of scissors and clip this, you know, down. It's just, there's a certain client that works for your business model and a certain one that's not. We're going to always do good work, but, and I hate saying this, man, but there's a lot of times elderly people who the highlight of their week is the lawn guy coming by, and I love, and it's horrible saying this, but I love a lot of our elderly clients, but my worst clients have always been people who tended to be a lot older, and they just, I don't know if it's a generation, man, or what it is, but they just feel like they can talk to the lawn guy like they're trash, and that just doesn't work with me, you know. And those people, I wish that I had let them go a lot quicker, because again, you think that it's going to get a little bit better. I was like, oh, maybe they just had a bad day. No, man, they're just wired to be jerks, and I don't have time for that in my business. I know you don't have time for that in your business. So again, I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, none of the equipment stuff, none of the marketing stuff I would have done differently. It just, everything that I would have done differently revolved around people. I would have hired faster, I would have fired faster, and I would have let clients go faster. You know, it's just, everything I would have changed would have evolved around people. So to answer your question, Jake, absolutely, you know, you can overthink the equipment side of things, but man, if you just get some decent equipment and do a good job and, you know, put some money into marketing, get some good software to run your company, you're gonna be just fine. Most of your headaches are going to come from your relationships, whether it's with employees or with clients, but you will figure that out, and I trust that you'll have a successful season. Good luck, bud. Y'all take care.